session now, which is going to be on AI. You've got an expert in the building. You've got Thomas Akintan.
Correct.
From Avalon Insight. So yeah, make some noise for her.
Thank you very much. And I'm also joined here by my colleague Tanisha. So yeah. And I think this is my second time in Leicester. So from London, born and raised, and I do like it here. It is very nice, nice and quiet, very airy, and cheaper drinks. So can never go wrong with that. So yes, my name's Thomas Akintan. I'm one of the co-founders of Avalon Insights. We are a human-centered, underline the word human, AI research and training company. We have a team across the UK, and we focus mainly on upskilling people on how they can use AI. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death with slides. I'm sure you can probably find a lot of stuff on YouTube, but what I am here to do is tell you about how AI can be useful for you. I've got a few slides, and I'm also going to demo you a few tools. Some you might have seen, some you might not have seen. And we've got a few use cases that we will kind of just show you what AI is capable of doing and how you can incorporate that as a creative for yourself. Without further ado, let's get started away. And this is our company, so I'm not going to kind of go into details on that. I will talk about some of the learning objectives. So first thing we're going to do is a quick overview of what AI is. We will talk about some of the AI tools that we're going to do. That will be by myself and Tanisha. We may talk about AI agents, maybe not. We'll absolutely talk about the ethical use cases of AI, and we'll give you kind of a toolkit that you can kind of take away on where to find more information. What AI tools have you heard of? Like, just, you can say that out, anyone. ChatGPT.
With my lyrics.
Yeah.
I think Autopilot, isn't that like an AI tool?
Yeah, Autopilot, yeah.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
I know ChatGPT is.
Yeah. Helps with my music created lyrics.
Yeah? Okay, all right. Has anyone heard of Notebook LM?
Nope.
Has anyone heard of Claude?
Yeah.
Claude, okay, cool. There's quite a few, to be fair. Have you heard of Gemini? Yeah. Heard of Copilot? Yeah, okay. Have you Perplexity? Yeah, there's quite a few other ones. There's Gamma. I mean, there's hundreds. I can name hundreds, but there's a few that we will demo out here. And one of the ones we're going to demo, actually, I'll kind of share that for you later. But Claude is a really, really good tool out there. So a quick overview on what AI is. So about 80% of workers will need to be AI literate by 2031, and AI has changed the way we work, right? It's definitely changed the way I work, and I'm sure, Tanisha, you can add on that. And the last bit here, where Tanisha, I'll let you read out on the creative statistics that you found.
Yeah, it was fascinating to know that 94% and more than that, I'm sure, use AI in some form in the creative industry, whether that's through ChatGPT, getting more confidence, or like you said, brainstorming, etc. So there's a lot more people using it, and it's only going to grow from here.
A few things AI is not. So I'm not here to say, oh, AI is amazing. We have to have a balance. So there's a few things AI is not. First of all, I don't even need to look at this because I know this off the top of my head. AI is not conscious. Okay, so even though it sounds like a human, it's not a human. And also, probably more importantly, AI should never be a replacement for human judgment. Everyone in this room is unique in your own individual way. Okay, AI can't replicate what makes you you.
It can't give an honest opinion on something.
No, it can't. Yeah.
It can give an honest. It's just objective.
Oh yes, sorry. It is honest. It's just not
objective enough. And actually, that's one other thing. There's a study which shows that AI likes to lie to people and tell you what you like to hear.
Yeah.
And that can be a problem because if you only hang around with people that just tell you what you want to hear, that might not be the truth. We want to say the truth, and the truth sometimes might be contrary to what you're currently doing. So that's something to bear in mind. I'm going to let Tanisha talk about some ways you can use AI as a creative very briefly, and then we will kind of move into some prompting and then go into some demos. So go ahead.
So just to pick off from what we discussed earlier, you said album covers, right? That's one way in which you can use different sort of AI tools, album covers. There are ways in which you could use it for posters, for social media promotions. Does anyone in the room use that for social media, etc., etc.? Not here.
I'm just learning. I'll see.
We'll see how we can do that in the live demo. But definitely posters, promotions. AI is a great tool to just find out more what's happening. So for instance, if you want to look up venues, maybe for your next gig, or see what is out there, what other artists are also doing to get sort of inspiration, and then use that to see what your next move can be. Definitely for portfolio pitches, decks. I'm sure there's a lot of back end that goes in, and AI is a massive companion there that could really help you with a lot of the boring admin-y sort of work that is definitely part of everyone's life on a day-to-day basis, whether that's sending out emails, whether that's sending out an entire pitch deck. How do you make sure that you can do it while also keeping your voice in?
Right, yeah.
And we'll just demo that in just a second.
Yeah.
So before we get into demos, we just want to talk on prompting. Now, that is how you use anything to do with AI. And this is a very simple prompt here. On the left-hand side, if you put that into something like ChatGPT, you're going to get a very generic answer. It's not going to speak to you. And just to read this out here for people that might see this on the recording, it's how can I attract more clients to my coaching business, right? In this case, it will be like, how can I attract more clients, or how can I attract more listeners to the sort of music I'm making, right? If you put that into ChatGPT, it's not going to give you anything because you need to give the AI tool context. The AI tool doesn't know about you, so you have to teach it about you. And if you look on the right, this is a much better prompt. We've said, okay, what sort of listeners do I want? What's the demographic of them? Where am I marketing it to? Marketing it to. This is a much, much better way of prompting. And there's a whole thing called prompt engineering, which you can look at. And it's super important when you're using any AI tool. Now, here are a few AI tools that are out there. I've just picked a few at random. So Copilot, you probably would already know. If any of you have Microsoft, that's the native one for that. ChatGPT, of course, most people know. Claude, which personally is my favorite. I use that a lot for strategy. That's probably my absolute best for that. Perplexity for research. NotebookLM for compiling different sources together. NotebookLM is an amazing tool as well, by the way. So as a creative, if you need to maybe get grants, which I'm sure probably would need to do, they need to say, well, what have you been working on? Tell me the impact you've been making. And you've got a lot of documents and you say, well, how can I summarize all these documents into a way that the grant funder will understand? NotebookLM is your tool for that, where you can dump different things in. You can dump PDFs, YouTube links, and all kinds of stuff and compile them. Gamma, we're going to go through in a while to show you how to make presentation decks from a single line of prompt. But I think we can go straight into it. That's enough of the slides. I don't want to bore you to death with that. Let's get into some AI stuff. So Tanisha, over to you. So while Tanisha is putting that up there, so Claude is a free to use tool. I've got the paid version, and that's probably the only AI tool I pay for just because I need it for strategic thinking. But one of the ways you will use Claude is, one, you can use it as a music producer to help you make sure that what you're saying is aligning with something else. So it's very good for comparing like A and B, or even A, B, and C. It's also good for training it. So you can actually train Claude to sound like you. So you can give it stuff like, well, this is the sort of audience I normally speak to. This is the sort of music I typically write. Can you make this sound like me?
When you sort of read the prompt, you can see that what we spoke about prompt engineering has been reflected here. So instead of asking, Claude AI to produce, a script and not give it any context, it's always better to say where you're coming from, what is it that you want, and what outputs would you like. So for example, in this prompt, you'll see it in a second, we say, you're a music producer and you want a 30-second music video on whatever your topic is. And also, what is it that you would like the video to be? What sort of tone would you like the video to be? What sort of aesthetics are you going for? If we would have just sort of put in, hey, give me a 30-second music script about topic X, the output would have been very, very different. It would have been very vague. But the more you use it, the more you tell it what to do, it's able to produce an output that is more catered to your sort of needs. So here, as just an example, the topic is about building confidence with an emotional tone. The protagonist in this particular script should be in their 20s, should be a certain way, etc., etc. So the more you prompt it, the more it's going to be a lot more reliable. And in a second, we can see what sort of difference that is. And this is true across platforms as well, like even ChatGPT that you said you use. If the next time you go in and like specify exactly what you want, it's going to give you a better output.
AI can't replace you. And we should be careful with what information we're giving AI. If there are lyrics which are personal to us, why does the AI need to know that, right? We should only be using AI tools that are compliant and it's not taking data to train it. So for example, if you're actually putting your lyrics into ChatGPT, it's taking that and it's training the model. Now, you might not care about that, but then of course, if AI gives an output to someone else and you're like, wait, that's me, right? That's the implications ethically that happens when you give AI too much personal information. So yes, it's a good tool, but we have to keep some things back for ourselves. If we really want to use some of these tools, why don't we just change the name? Change the name, change the location, so it's kind of vague to you, but it's not exactly you. That's a way that you can use these AI tools ethically. Don't put entirely everything up there, change part of it.
The authenticity side of things. Like as an artist, if it's not my art, if a lot of it's got AI contribution, that's not authentic.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's funny because I've done a talk a couple months back actually with Two Funky Arts on the copyrights of using AI. Oh yeah, I mentioned that. It's on YouTube, by the way, you can check it out. And I said one thing which is, actually it's just skip my head now. Yes, which is, when we're using these AI tools, right, yes, it has to be authentic to you, but we have to always question these tools. And I was even proposing that we need to make a separate category of music where it's like human music and then human AI music. So we kind of distinguish between the two to make it more fair. So that's just my idea. Maybe it might come, maybe 20 years from now, we'll be like, hey, what's top of the AI charts? Top of the pops. Is anyone age? Top of the pops? Yeah. It's like, yeah, top of the pops, right? So top of the AI charts, that might be a thing in the future. So this is what Claude's done. So I gave it a very simple prompt and it's done a 30-second script. So Tanisha can in 1 minute explain.
It says the title should be Becoming, and it selects a name of the protagonist, which is Alex in this case, and talks about how Alex should look at the mirror, and then the light comes in and this and that. But a lot of this is because I did set the tone as cinematic and emotional. If I were to add let it be scary, let it be funny, it would have probably shown something very different, which is again something to keep in mind back to our engineering prompt, that what you feed it will sort of reflect in it. But again, this is maybe not something that should be the final version of how you would use it, even from an ethics perspective, but it can definitely be a companion if you wanted to brainstorm something, if you wanted an initiation of an idea, or also to see how something might pan out and get inspiration from that.
We've done a research, and as a research company, we always ask this question on how do people feel about the ethics of AI. We've spoken to, I think maybe close to about maybe 1,000 people, and out of that 1,000, right, I think almost 85% of them had a 4 out of 5 high concern rating on ethics of AI. Exactly like what you're saying. And that upsets me because it's like, we're moving so fast in this technology, and you ask the right question, where's it getting the information from? Who is giving the permission to get this stuff from? Now, we have a few choices. Either we don't say anything, and we just allow this technology to take over our lives, or we have spaces like this where we have conversations about, actually, I don't want my information online. I want to have some guardrails. Now, we work a lot with the UK Gov, and that's something they themselves are trying to do, which is set up something called an AI policy and an AI governance around how these technologies should be used. And one thing I would say here is that I think that anyone's information, if they want to use it, they should first, the AI company should ask them for permission to use it. They shouldn't just take it, as they have been doing, right? I don't want to mention on camera, I'm sure you know a lot of companies that already are taking our data. We are in a battle now of these companies fighting for data, and they need it to power a lot of these tools. And look, I 100% agree with you, and that's why we need spaces like this. Push back at these companies, push back even in company, like even internally at your workplaces, which is like, okay, well, actually, my information, where is it going? Are we kind of working with these companies and collaborating with them? Are we using certain AI tools that are not GDPR compliant? So, for example, if you in your company use Outlook and you use Copilot, it's fine. It's GDPR compliant, which means that the information that you use will stay within that space. If you're using a tool like ChatGPT, you need to make sure that people that are in positions of power are not just taking mass information and dumping them into tools like ChatGPT, like DeepSeek. I'm going to show you another tool just because of time, actually. How are we for time? Let's see. Okay, cool. So, has anyone heard of Nano Banana? Okay. All right. So, it's a funny name. It is a funny name. So, yeah, it really does stick with you. So, if you can see, actually, you see that? Does anyone see that little banana image there at the bottom? Yeah. So that's a Google thing, right? So, Nano Banana. I asked. Okay, let's start with this. So, Google have their own AI tool called Gemini. Now, they've also produced different sorts of add-ons to it. One of that is Nano Banana. So Nano Banana is really good at making images, right, from simple lines of prompts. So I actually put in here a prompt, and this is free, by the way. It's actually absolutely free. You can't make unlimited images. I think you can only make a couple per month, but for the most part, it's free. I've said, create a one-page album cover, Neon Dreams, right? Make it futuristic, based in London and in purple, okay? Now, it's a very simple prompt. In your case, you might want to give it some more context around the album cover that's particular for you. You may be like your color is green, maybe your color is yellow, and there's some particular themes you want. It's given me an album cover from an image. Now, does that kind of look like London? I mean, yeah, it looks like the Big Ben, doesn't it? Kind of, you know.
I see the shard somewhere.
Something like that. I think maybe the slanty bit is like the shard, but it's the base of an album cover. It's not the whole thing. Because album covers, I love album covers, by the way. Like, they speak a lot. Before you even hear the music, the album covers should attract you in. So would I take this exact same thing and use it as an album cover? Probably not. But what I would do is I can take this from inspiration and say, well, actually, I can use this as a baseline to create my own album cover. And that is one way you can potentially use these tools. Final tool I'm gonna show you before we open up for Q&A is Notebook LM. My absolute favorite tool. I'm gonna kind of whiz through this, but it's powered by Google. It can do a few cool things. The first thing you wanna use it to do is you can add different sort of inputs into it. So it's what you call multimodal. Now, you can add PDFs, you can add audio files, you can add links to a website, you can add YouTube videos. So one way actually I use this is, like, let's say there's an hour-long YouTube video, and sometimes I'd watch the whole thing, but actually I'll just put the YouTube link into Notebook LM and say, summarize the 5 key findings from this YouTube video, and it would go in and literally extract those things. A very practical example I've done is of a talk from a lecture. One of my favorite speakers, he was talking about books and stuff, and normally I'd have to listen to the whole thing and write it down, but I put it into Notebook LM and said, can you just extract all the books that he mentions in the YouTube video? And he done it. It literally done that, put it into a nice file that I was able to extract. So this is a potential way that you can use this tool. And like I said, it's multimodal, so you can combine different areas of your research. And I'm gonna just show you what it would look like here. So this is an example. I've just added in a few reports here. I can get a video overview, so I can take this and make it into like a video, essentially.
Turn the report into a video.
You could turn the whole thing into a video. Like, I'll show you. Show you right now. So let's click on that. Let's see if is this one even done here? Let's see. There you go.
Today we're diving into the story.
I mean, the audio's not connected, but
charities greatest national crises in a generation. It is an absolutely incredible story of resilience, adaptation, and a non-stop fight to end homelessness. But before we get into all the strategy and the numbers,
So
let's just ground ourselves
that's
in
based
what we're all
off
about.
what I've put in there.
A member of crisis.
In your case, that could, it's created that. It's literally created. I know. I see the look on your face. I wish the camera could get that, but it's created
We're
that.
gonna follow that.
There's an option of an audio output as well. So a lot of it could be used for podcasts, etc. If you have a couple of links similar to this, you can get a whole podcast out of it.
Yeah, it's built, literally just built it for us right there. And this is a free tool for now, I guess. And one good thing about this is that whatever you keep in this tool stays in this tool. So it doesn't really search the internet to find stuff in that sense. It's kind of, the chances of hallucination on this are pretty low compared to something else. Like if you use something like maybe ChatGPT, because it's searching the internet, it can hallucinate, but this would only use what you've given it. So if you've given it an audio file that talks about, I don't know, rock music, it's not now going to start talking about dance hall, because it's like, well, the file itself only talks about rock music. So that is one interesting thing. I mean, it's got so many other features. You can make a mind map out of it, you can do reports out of it, but because of the time, I don't want to go into extensive detail into this, but this is an amazing tool. So it's called Notebook LM, and maybe hopefully we can do some more where we just do practical breakdowns of this.
We shouldn't have a conversation about AI without talking about the ethical aspects of it. And I can see that there are concerns in the room about it, and these are very, very valid concerns. One thing that I would probably open the floor, maybe a brief discussion we can talk about, is about the copyright issues that we spoke about earlier. Whatever tools that we have seen today, it all works on whatever data you feed it, whether that is data in some cases that you don't consent to, or whether that's data that you feed it into, the software and the tool. So definitely that data could be from various sources, from various different artists, and therefore there is definitely a real concern of copyright infringement and a lack of recognition of your artistic production, which is something that is definitely a concern, that when you use any tool, it's something to note. And sometimes when I personally struggle with, which tool should I use, what's the ethical implications, the way I see it is that there is a lot of knowledge in power. The other way around. There's a lot of power in having knowledge. And I think educating ourselves about the tools that exist out there is the first step. So when you look at a tool, don't take it at face value. Definitely don't say, hey, this is the best tool that exists. Question it, look at it, what sort of debates are around maybe copyright infringement, and then definitely we can go from there.
You as the end user always have to come to the judgment. Do I want to give this AI tool my information? And if so, to train it? If so, fine. If not, then I need to make the decision. I should never outsource that to anyone, and never just put any sensitive information on any tool. Always remove parts of it to keep your authenticity. But you as the end user should have the responsibility on where you want to put your information. All right, well, we've come to the end of our time, so thank you very much. I know we've gone a little bit over, but thank you.